Hey everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom. My name's Colin Way, and today we're going to make this sander or sanding organizer for all your abrasives, your power sandings, and your cordless drill. I've just finished putting this one up. It's nice and level, so it's all ready to fill up now. Let's have a look and see how it's done. Okay, to make our sanding holdall, station, whatever you want to call it, we're going to start with some birch face ply. This is offcuts, so it's not new stuff. It's basically timber that's come from other projects, so there's holes and things like that in it. I'm not worried because it's just going to be for holding all my abrasives and things like that. It's in the workshop. It's going to be a used sort of area anyway. So at the moment, they're all irregular sizes. So I'm just going to spend the next sort of half an hour just cutting this into usable sizes. And I think I'm going to go with length first. So once I've done that, then I can cut it to its widths. Now, to give you an idea of dimensions, I'm making it fit an area in the workshops, so it has to be a certain size. So I've measured that size. We're going with the height of it is about a metre, or no, it is a metre, so about 40 inches. Then we're going with 700 wide, so which is around about 28 inches. And then the depth of it, I've got to hold lengths of, rolls of abrasive, so I want it to be able to do that, but I don't want them to be sunk and disappear in the holder either. So I'm going to go with 140 mil, which is about 5.5 inches. So that'll cope with the rolls of abrasive, it'll cope with the sanding discs, and I want to store my cordless drill in there and all the power sanding bits as well, so it should cope with all that as well. So that's what I'm going to do for the next few minutes, is cut my pieces to more manageable sizes and get them close to the finished pieces. So here goes. So there we are, all the bits are cut to length. The only bits I haven't actually cut yet, we've cut the width of them, but we haven't cut the little shelves. Now I'm purposely leaving that to the end because I want to double check to make sure my measurements are absolutely spot on before I cut anything. But what we're going to do now is do all the trench cuts. Now there's several ways of doing this. You can trench cut the way I'm doing it on table saw, making sure the crown guard hasn't been taken off. So I've got this as a floating crown guard over the top, so it still protects me. It's a guard. It has to do its job. Don't be tempted to take your crown guard off just to do this. If you haven't got this facility, then I would do this job probably by router instead, okay? The other option, of course, is just butt joint everything together. You don't have to do the trench at all. So the thing that we have to do, I've just done one to show you here. So it's just this little trench. And then what will happen is that will then lock in together. It just gives me a nice firm way of doing it. Now that's going to have to be done in several areas, not just on this upright, but on the tops as well, to allow for the uprights to join in. So there's a little bit of trenching to do, but I've got everything set up. I'm nice and safe. My fence at the moment is set up for an end cut, so I'm able to place my board on there, making sure I'm cutting the same side, and away we go. And that will allow for the top and the bottom then to be cut. So here goes. Let's just do this first one. There we are, you can see a little bit more off the end there, but you can see then we have our trench. I just need to repeat this now, several parts on this board and the uprights also. Okay, so all the grooves are now done. The outside grooves and plus these internal grooves here. Now these are going to be for shelves, and the dividing walls for those shelves, we've had to groove on both sides. So just a little bit of care. I've gone to about 10 mil on the outside grooves, but on the double grooves I've halved that. So we're leaving some strength in the middle. So that's all done. All our next job is to drill the holes and countersink the outside. However, I want my centre shelves to be free floating, so the grooves aren't tight. They are allowing the shelves to be put in and pulled out. That's really if I want to make one of these letterboxes a little bit bigger, so I can just remove the shelves when I want to. So what I need to remember is that I'm not actually drilling or screwing in these grooves here. I'm going to drill and screw this one, the bottom one for the shelf, the very bottom down here, and then the top and the middle shelf. So I've marked with a pencil every groove that I need to drill, and I must remember that I don't want to drill these three in the center. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm not actually worried where I drill as long as I've got 2 points, a little bit of sacrificial timber of course, centre of the board, or centre of what will be the top of the piece. Okay, so we've done the drilling. I just want to do countersinking now. So this is the outside of the board. So just some small countersunk areas. Just check the inside of the groove as well. You might want to just countersink the inside. I know the head of the screw doesn't go there, but it'll just clean off any of this burring. And if there's any slight burring as the screw goes in, it'll stop the boards from sitting proud of each other. There we are. So literally just a small countersink area just to clean off here. But the main countersink area is obviously on the back. That's just to make sure the head sinks nicely, stop the wood splitting, all those sorts of things. Okay, so now we've got to cut our individual shelves. Now these are 140 by 150. Because we can't use the length stop because it's too far away, we're going to use a piece of timber there just to bridge that gap. So when I put that in position and bring that down, that's going to chop off perfectly my lengths. So here goes. I've got, how many have I got to do? We've got 612 of these to make. So held in position up to my stop. Right, so we're going to start assembly. This is probably my favourite bit, if I'm honest with you, because you've done all the hard work, you've made everything, hopefully the right size, and everything's drilled in the right places and all those sorts of things. So let's start assembly. So I've got the mid shelf there, get that in position. I'm only using 30mm screws here, 4 gauge, so 4mm. And I know I'm right in your way at the moment, but I will make it a little bit clearer in a second. That's looking good. There we go. So, right, we've got our first piece in. We could now flip this over if we wanted to and screw in the other side. But let's get the top and the bottom on whilst we're here. So I have marked everything. That's the top. You can clamp this together if you want while you're screwing. But I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, so I've got some of the guide dogs just at the back here, just keeping that stable whilst we screw together, but you could equally clamp up. Okay, let's just flip this over to get that other side on. Put that up against the dogs. Just get the middle one in first, just to secure everything. Okay, so center walls next. Let's start over there. Should slot in nicely. Done all of our measurements correctly, they will anyway. There we are. Now we can start screwing everything together. Nice, enjoyable bit. Okay, so I'm going to cut the backing board. We're using a piece of OSB here. It was a metre long, so I've marked the metre. I've got my my fence here, and so we're just going to trim that. Then I do need to trim it to length. It's a little bit oversized at the moment, so we'll get the rip fence back on to do that. So here goes. Okay, so I've drilled and countersunk the backboard, just in the same way we did the side panels here. So all that's left to do really is just to screw all this together. This is going to add to the strength of the piece as well, and give us a point where we can actually screw this onto the wall as well. So we can screw through this backboard into the wall, or you can make an actual hole point if you wish. So there we are. It's all put together now. All I want to do now is get it in place. Again, for one of the other best bits of the build is putting it in position and getting it loaded with all the abrasives. I've made it so I can put the drill in and all of my sanding discs, my power sanding paraphernalia as well, sanding abrasive discs, sanding paper, and anything to do with sanding basically. So let's go and get it up in position and see how it looks. Well, there we are. I hope you've enjoyed that. I filled mine, well, sort of filled it with the abrasives that I got. There's loads of room in here, though, so I can really pack it out. I've got places for my sandpaper, for my abrasive discs, my cordless drill, even something for my goggles here as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that, everybody. Remember, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, share us around, and subscribe to the channel, of course. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.